was one of my biggest life regrets, I think, is just being such a workaholic. But it did get me to where I needed to be.
We got two very powerful women in business that are like both crushing it.
But I was like, no, I have to go to work. And I would literally ditch school because I was so competitive that I wanted to beat someone else.
Welcome back. Your favorite episode on the planet, or I'm sorry, your favorite podcast on the planet, Realty Talk.
Could, yeah. Redo. I was going to say,
Okay.
could be your favorite episode.
This is going to be the favorite
yeah.
episode too. Okay, let's start again.
Yeah.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast on the planet, Realty Talk, and also your favorite episode. I think they're going to cut out my first take. Maybe I'll just leave it and let it run. But it will be your favorite episode ever. We have an amazing guest with us today, who I am just getting to know.
Yeah.
Shirley.
Yeah.
Shirley, what's your last
Shirley
name?
Slee.
Slee.
Yeah, you're super prepared. Yeah.
Yes. We're so excited. We have a lot of great stuff to talk about today, but we generally open the podcast with just updates.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's new?
Whew. Well, I think if we're talking market specific, I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster lately. I think we could talk about that. I was just talking to an agent that was telling me I had 5 buyers that were like ready to go. And then they all kind of said, hey, we're going to see what happens with the economy. And, I think the whole tariff thing is really throwing people.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that people are pressing pause, at least until they know what's going to happen. I think it's really like that unknown that's deterring people a little bit. So that's
that?
what we're seeing. Oh, you want to know how I well, I feel that it's a mess. And I think there's definitely a better way to be addressing tariffs. Obviously, it's way over my head, but I don't think springing it on companies, especially so many companies. I have an example. I don't know how much I can share in this situation, but know someone personally that works for an American-based company. They outsource just 25% of their supplies to China. But that 25% with the tariffs will put this, and this is a huge company, I'll tell you later, but that 25% will put them in bankruptcy. So, just on those products.
Has that already been implemented? Are they charging the tariffs yet?
No, and I think that's the thing. It was yes, we're charging them, and they were like, okay, well, this is happening, and then it was a pause, and then it was 90-day pause, but also we're not going to affect electronics, which feels a little bit like favoritism, because this company doesn't manufacture electronics, and so they're kind of like, cool, so you're welcome, Apple, but for me,
what about us?
And again, this is a U.S.-based company that is, a huge staple, I would say, even in our like culture and lives. So, I think that even whether you agree that there should be tariffs or shouldn't be tariffs, I think everyone can agree that there's a right way to maybe phase that in. Maybe it's not just, hey, we're implementing this right now, but so that companies can prepare or at least move maybe some of that back. Or, there are situations where it's almost like you can't, like things have to be manufactured elsewhere due to parts and pieces. It would take
years to get it up and running.
So, maybe a 5-year plan would make a little more sense in this situation. Okay, I just went off on my tangent. Thanks for asking, though, Paul.
My follow-up question to that is, and it's kind of a loaded question, but like...
I knew you had an ulterior motive there. I was waiting for it.
Why does this affect a buyer? Like, why does all this noise, affect somebody that's going to buy real estate?
I think that buyers... Well, I think there's a lot to unpack with that question. I would say, first of all, it is affecting the people that work for those companies, Sure. So I think in the example that I just gave, like my person that I know is like, okay, my company is going to go bankrupt. Like I don't know if I'm going to have a job, So I think there's a little bit of that uncertainty. But also I think, as we've talked about, I think buyers really expected that Trump gets in office and rates immediately go down. I think that's what people anticipated. And we've talked about that before, and that's not happening. And so, as we said, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so I think there's just that. And then I think bringing that, coupling that with all of the government shakeups and layoffs there, I think people are just really uncertain a lot of people don't know if they're going to continue to have a job,
Sure.
So I think there's a lot of that across the country. And even if it's not affecting you personally, someone that it's affecting. And so it's leaving buyers in a place where, they feel that uncertainty. Now, does that actually make sense for the market in its current condition? Like, absolutely not. I think we saw last week, actually, rates went down, I think 4 times, or maybe it was the week before. Rates are
when the 90-day pause was
stated.
So it's very volatile just off of verbiage, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think, it's actually probably a great time to buy because of that uncertainty. There aren't as many buyers ready to buy. Yeah. So, whether it makes sense or doesn't make sense, I think that's the thought process behind it.
I want to get to the introduction, but I want to ask you.
This is interesting.
I want to ask you the same question. Yeah. So, Shirley, what is your take on that?
I agree. I think that people are just so hypersensitive to just any type of whatever comes out of Washington. They're going to put a pause. They're going to go for it.
Sure.
You see that with the markets. But I think for homeowners in general, it's the interest rates. That's what it boils down to. It's just the volatility there. But I've heard almost the opposite from people that are paying cash for homes. They would rather, I've got many messages 2 weeks ago where they're like, hey, I think I'm going to sell some stock. I'm going to put it into real estate. Like, what do you have? So I think that could be a benefit for us. Yeah. Because that is so uncertain, and real estate is pretty much a guarantee, whether it slows or it's going to go up. So
yeah. And I think it's one of those things, it's like, we saw it with COVID. I was just talking about this. It's like, initially, when you're uncertain, everyone's kind of like, okay, let's hold, not making any moves. But as soon as we were like, all right, we understand this situation, and rates went down to freaking 2%. Like, giving money away. Yes, like, people are going to move. So it's like you said it. At the end of the day, if the rates go down, buyers are going to buy regardless of that uncertainty.
Right. And if the stock market is so uncertain, they're going to put it into real estate. So.
Yeah.
We need to get your formal introduction. Sorry, we went straight into all the
into
updates,
a tangent. You set me up.
No, it's good.
What do you want to ask the questions or do the introduction?
Yeah. Okay, so we're excited today because we have Shirley on the podcast, and Shirley is so well versed in so many different areas of the business. So I think that, having her on here brings a lot of knowledge. She started at a younger age and really built up what sounds like your own little empire in Carlsbad. So congratulations. I think, to kick it off, we would love to hear a little bit about your story and how you started in the business.
Yeah, so at the age of 19, I purchased my first home with my late husband. And since then, we just got the bug, right? We just saw that we could make money, and it just became fun. And then he was into construction a little bit on the side. And we just went for it. We would just renovate homes. And then I was explaining that I didn't have my real estate license until much later. So I would use friends who were agents, but the houses would be just perfect. Like, I would light the candles, fluff the pillows.
She'd get it ready. She did the hard work.
For the open house. And then they'd come and be like, oh, we got an offer. And then I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm literally just handing you money. So I got my real estate license, and then that just kind of just started and took over my life. And then we just kept renovating homes up and down the coast. Started in Ventura area, and then now we're in San Diego for the last almost 15 years. And I don't even know, I need to count how many homes I've done, but probably over 70 now.
Wow, good for you.
Great.
Yeah. And then my own personal homes, I've probably done over 20 something. And it's fun. Yeah.
So as you were getting started early, were these investment properties or were you
No.
living in them and then selling?
Yes.
So you moved a lot.
A lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my children, my first two.
You like moving?
I do.
Really?
I do.
Are you like minimalistic? Because I feel
you have to become like my
Yeah.
home right now. I just finished a renovation on my own personal home, and yeah, there's not even a color in it. Like it's so bare. I had a dumpster on the property for like 3 months. And every day I would just get a high, like, nope, don't need this, throw it away, throw it away.
Yeah.
Just editing my life down to, because when you move so much and then you're involved in this world of homes and furniture and just so much stuff, I'm like, I don't want anything.
Yeah.
Simplicity, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for myself. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So 70, I mean, that's a pretty big number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that process like for you?
Well, so 2 different entities. So we do design for clients as well. So we'll do like a full gut renovation, new builds, and then my own personal homes with business partners. We'll purchase a home. I have my whole team. My son is my project manager, and we'll just do the whole home, permits, everything, and then I stage and then I sell with my daughter Sage. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
When you buy an investment opportunity, how do you go about that process?
Like searching for the
property?
property?
I mean, are you primarily renovating within 4 walls? Are you adding square footage? Are you adding ADUs? Are you going ground up? Like what's your strategy?
Depends. The strategy would be just the location, and for that strategy and the lot size, obviously all of that pertains to it. Ideally, you want to find something with the square footage and not have to go through all that process, but if it's needed, we'll do it.
Very cool.
Yeah, just depends. If it's a short, fast one, just get in, get out.
Yep.
Longer term.
And do you think about deals from like a specific return profile, or how do you buy?
I'm a little wild card on that, and I do drive my investors crazy because they're spreadsheet guys, budget guys, and I just completely blow it for them in that area.
Sure.
Yeah, but the return is always good, and so they end up trusting me and like, oh, let's do another one. But in the beginning, they're just like, yeah.
Do you use leverage? You go all cash, or how do you structure deals?
90% is all cash. Yeah. So then we can just get in there, knock it out. Holding costs are minimal.
Yeah.
So that's where you can make the most return for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just was in a partnership where it wasn't cash, and I got bought out because I was like, I can't do this. The margins every month just go down. Yeah. It becomes not profitable.
So are you working on like 1 or 2 at a time, or?
I used to have like anywhere from 4 to probably 8 going, and now I'm down to just like I want 1 or 2 good ones. During the year.
So are you sleeping better now?
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little bit.
Way better. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have so many questions about that. So
I know. I feel like
But where do you? So where does that business come from? You said your 2 kids, Sage and John. Okay, they're in the business. Are they helping identify the assets, or do you have a pool of agents? Or
I have a pool of agents and investors. They'll call me like, hey, I have an off market. I have this and that, and sometimes we buy them on market, and just we're super competitive, and people know, and sometimes the homeowners even know like who I am, and they're like, oh, I want to see what you're going to do with it.
Cool.
That's been really fun. So I think just doing it so long that people just know like, oh, I want to bring this deal to Shirley, and so I really appreciate that. Yeah.
So when you think about the way you spend your time, if it was like in chunks, like percentages, do you spend more time on design or more time on the investment side? Or it sounds like you're still doing transactions as well, like representing buyers and sellers. And
I think that's what keeps me afloat, is just the versatility of my business. Like when the market's great, I mean, real estate will just become all consuming.
Sure.
So I'll push clients off. If it slows down, then people want renovations, or I want to pick up something for a deal.
Yeah.
So it just ebbs and flows, and it always seems to kind of just even out where it should be. Yeah.
So this is very intriguing. So have you figured out the biggest problem that every entrepreneur has, which is balance?
So
because I don't know that I've ever been able to figure it out. It sounds like it's balanced.
I am now. For the last 7 years, absolutely zero balance. And that was one of my biggest life regrets, I think, is just being such a workaholic. But it did get me to where I needed to be.
Yeah.
But it does take a toll. Like, I mean, there was times like my daughter would try to work with me, and by the end of the week, she'd just be like a wreck. Like, you are crazy. Like, I don't know why you're doing this to yourself, because it does take like no food. Like literally, oh, I didn't drink water today. I didn't even go pee
Yeah,
today. Like it took
That's
much
bad.
drive. Yeah.
You should drink water.
No, I know. and then in the middle of the night, like my husband would just come and like slam my laptop down and be like, you're done. You need to sleep. But that's where it was like, I finally hit a wall and I'm like, what am I doing?
Sure.
Yeah. And after his passing, it was like, okay, life is just, this is not what I want to be doing. Like pushing myself this hard. So
So where does that drive come from? Like what was your like early life like?
Yeah.
And is that where the drive came from or what makes you so switched on?
Yeah. So I'm Native American. I grew up on an Indian reservation.
Wow.
And I think just having the government like be in charge.
Sure.
Like even our land, it's held in trust. It's not really ours. And that always bothered me because my mom made our home so beautiful. But in the back of my young mind, I'm like, but is it really ours? You know? So I think that is where I was like, I'm going to buy my own homes. I'm going to own my homes. I'm going to own my land and just make them how I want. So I think that's kind of where that came from. I didn't even think about that till now.
So you bought your first house at 19. So that means that you were having those thoughts like very young.
Very
Do you
young.
remember when you were having those thoughts? Was it like 10, 12, 15 years old?
I think the people who've influenced me in my life, like my parents, luckily, I mean, with hardly any money, would just take us on trips and I'd like to Santa Barbara and I'd be like, oh my God, I want this someday. So I think just then formulating, like knowing what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I ended up moving to Santa Barbara and I was like, so just knowing what I wanted, being exposed to some things outside of my little bubble.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just,
I mean, it's incredibly inspiring because I'm not the best communicator, I don't think, but so I would say like the average person, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that they would ever get to a place where they could look into the future and say, okay, the home structure is this way and I want something different.
Yeah.
I think most people just kind of react to the way life comes.
Yeah.
So what about, I mean, you're saying that, your family it sounds like you're super close and they invested a lot of time and energy into creating opportunities for you and experiences.
For sure. Yeah.
That's where that drive comes from, is seeing other stuff?
And just having good parents that believed in me.
Sure.
I mean, my dad was just always like, you can do anything, honey. But I do think being exposed, whether it was just like staying in somebody's beautiful home or like, I was a curious child. Like, what do you do for like how, I was just wanted to know.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 14, I became like an avid reader and I'd read autobiographies constantly.
At 14?
Yeah. I was
Whoa.
like, how did they do this? Who are they? Got my library card and I would just go and read. And I think all of that exposure, just like, okay, this is what I want. And truly, I have a napkin that I wrote down like some goals when I was probably 15.
Do you still have
I
it?
do. It's in my scrapbook. Yeah.
Did you laminate it and everything?
I should. I don't even think my kids I've ever showed them. But it's like, move to Santa
awesome.
Barbara, buy a home. Like I just put what I wanted.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
was
You
able
made
to.
it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Knowing what you want.
Where did you grow up?
In Bishop, California.
Bishop.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
It's in
it.
the Owens Valley by Mammoth.
Very cool.
No, that's such a cool story. And I think, obviously, even to buy a home at 19 is in California.
Yeah.
So
is
hard.
very impressive.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming you started with this work ethic probably pretty young.
Yes. My husband and I, we both had really a strong work ethic. We did college, like often, like I would do night school, he would do day, and then we would just like switch off with the kids because we had kids really young.
Yeah.
And my dad did lend me $18,000 for our first home, but I refinanced within 2 months and paid him back with interest.
Yeah.
And so that was our first start. And
Yeah.
that home, we made $100,000 in about 10 months. It was a first phase development in Oxnard, California.
Cool.
Hated Oxnard, no offense, but I was just like,
We have like thousands of listeners in Oxnard.
sorry, it could be beautiful, it could be. And so that's where the bug came from. We were like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I really connect with that because, and when I talked about my story, I, for so many years of my life, like through high school, it was like everyone's going to football games, everyone's hanging out. And I'm like, I got to go to work, guys. Like, and I really didn't. Like, I didn't have to make money at,
cute.
15, but I was like, no, I have to go to work. And I would literally ditch school. Like, to just go to work because I was so competitive that I wanted to beat someone else that I knew was going to be there in sales for the day. So a little bit of a different drive, I think.
Competitive,
but,
yeah.
I had that competitive spirit really young. But yeah, it was like all my friends were like, hanging out. And when I look back now, I mean, recently I got together with a lot of my old friends. And, they were all talking about all these memories that they had from that time.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, I wasn't a part of that because I literally was like, no, I'm going to go and make money and I'm going to go and start my own business. I started my own business at 20 or 19. And so it was like the same exact thing where I'm like, I definitely sacrificed some experiences and life experiences, but I definitely wouldn't trade it.
What ignited that spark in you to want to?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more of the competitive spirit, which is so weird because if you talk to me, it's very rare that even comes out. I internalize that a lot, but yeah, I think at one point it did turn into like a necessity because I was very independent, very young, and so clashed. It was the opposite with family where I, thought I knew everything and could do whatever I wanted, and I was making great money. So I was like, I'm out of here. So I'm living on my own at like 16, and so it just turned into something else where it was like, okay, now I'm going to start my life. And I was very money motivated. Yeah. We didn't grow up with money at all. Yeah. And so, even realizing like what my gift was, and then growing, I was in a leadership position, thankfully, at like 17. Wow. And so I learned about leadership really young and how to manage people, and then found that was my strength. And, like as we talk through design ideas now and everything else, I'm like, I know what I am good at and what I am not good at, And when you talk about a minimalistic house, like you walk in my house and you're like, oh, Suzanne, do you live here? Like, exactly. There's literally like nothing on the wall.
Totally.
But my reason is just because it's just not my thing. Like I'm not very into it. But so same thing, but different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I want to say one thing about what I just learned about both of you, and then we have a segment to get to.
I'm scared.
No. I'm just, it's incredibly inspiring to be at the table and hear what you guys are talking about. I mean, it's just, we talk a lot about younger generations, right? And our whole business model, like we buy and renovate and sell a lot of houses. The investment thesis is that baby boomers are exiting the workforce. They own more single family real estate than any other age demographic in the US. And 40% of that real estate is debt free. Generally, when real estate is debt free, structurally, they keep the integrity up, but from a design and layout standpoint, it kind of slips backwards, right? But younger generations, like younger people, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, in America today are the largest consumer base on the planet. They consume fucking everything. They buy more than anybody.
TikTok, yeah.
Yeah, but they're unwilling to, like what we see for the most part is younger generations aren't buying the old, poopy house and then fixing it up slowly in a nice neighborhood. They want a perfect, redone, like amazing piece or whatever that's open and oak floors and, all that. And they also don't want to move out to, 45 minutes away from their job and commute.
Exactly.
So that was our investment thesis. But what I'm trying to get full circle here is like something happened for you two at a very young age where you were inspired to, I call it being switched on, but you were inspired to improve your life or chase a dream. And that's my question. Like, how do we collectively go and inspire younger generations to do the same thing? Because, I mean, no offense, like other people could do the same things you guys are doing. I don't know if they can do it as well, but they're not, right? And so I think it's partly our responsibility to go and do it. But, it's just, I'm inspired to listen to what you guys are talking about. But
I think that's how you have to do it. Like you have to inspire people to do it,
exactly. That's
because it has to come from the person. And if they're not inspired, then it really doesn't matter. Like you can teach, we could teach anything, but
you have to want it.
Yeah, they have to want it. So maybe it's the podcast.
That's why we're here. That's why everyone listens.
Yeah.
No, I've had so many people that I've represented on the purchase of a home, or they bought one of my flip homes, and then like 2 months later, hey Shirley, I'm getting my license. Like, can I come train with you?
Oh, cool.
And I've taught many people. I've done so many flips with people, like clients of mine, and so it's neat. It's neat to see that inspiration. People that you would never think, that never had to have a job their entire life.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, this is fun. It's rewarding. It feels good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, we have to cut to a segment.
I know we do. So we are. Oh, we're doing Homes Gone Wild. That's what we're doing. So we get stories from either our listeners or agents, and Paul. We like Paul to read these stories because his reactions as reading are really fun, and we don't show him before, so we don't know what the story's going to be.
All right, let's listen.
It's so hard for me not to like skim ahead
I
as I'm
know.
reading to see what the punchline is.
That's how I am with TV, by the way, and shows. Like
It's so
I will
bad.
read through all of the descriptions. It's bad
We have
habit.
to slow down and just yeah.
Okay, on today's segment of Homes Gone Wild, which, by the way, I just love the name.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay, year was 2017, and the housing market really started to heat up. Prices were low, rates around 4%. That's great. 15 to 20 offers on a good house was starting to become the normal. My clients were friends of a close friend. So one thing we've got to mention, these are stories that people submit in
Got
to
it.
the podcast.
Okay.
So these are true real life stories. We don't know this person.
I want to go
Or maybe
back
we know
to
the person.
2017. Yeah.
They were living in a rat-infested home with a terrible landlord. They had been denied a loan from a big lender, so I, also being a loan officer as well, did some investigating and asked them if they had any other income. They said only from IHSS for taking care of their mother. I don't even know what that is. IHSS.
Yeah, it's like a government-assisted program to take care of a loved one.
Okay. I immediately called my lender, told them the situation. We got them pre-approved for a much higher amount based on the extra IHSS income that their first lender didn't ask about. Still, they kept going or getting outbid on homes. They fell in love with as much was the norm in those days up until 2021. Finally, their offer got accepted on a beautiful home. I'm ecstatic because at this point, we had seen so many homes. I really got attached to this family. I would bring candies for the kids and call their mother Mama. I rushed to their house to give them the good news and have them read and sign an easily acceptable counteroffer, shortened inspection time. I pull up to the street and WTF do I see? Highway Patrol, SWAT, City PD, and a bunch of undercover units. Their home was being raided. I walked up to my client, the wife, standing talking to the police. They found some cocaine, some weed, scales, etc. Earlier that morning, her husband got caught trying to purchase kilos from an undercover cop. An officer comes up to me, looks at me sideways, and says, "Who in the hell are you?" I said, "I used to be their realtor."
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah.
The client was Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And business was good.
Oh, wow. Well, that is, there are loans for that now. So they
Are
probably,
there?
yeah. I mean,
Like
there
a
are
stated
bank
unsecured loan or something?
statement
Yeah,
loans you
yeah.
could do. Yeah, but man,
A drug house, that would be.
especially after all that time, though, that hurts.
So, if I ever told you the story of not my, but our business's drug-related exchange thing happened?
I don't know.
Holy smokes! So, I was a very young entrepreneur, and so a business that I had a while ago, 10 years ago now. We had about 300 employees. It was a pretty large business. And we had, I think, 175 W-2 contractors. And so we had a bunch of vehicles.
Wow.
But this one team lead that was young and impressionable, we all loved him. No call, no showed for like 3-4 days. And then we get a phone call, and he's driving one of our, Sprinter vans, which is what carried all our material and whatever. And the van was missing. And we have GPS on the vans.
Okay.
And the day that he like clocked out on a Friday and then just didn't show up until, I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then we realized, we should go look at the GPS.
Yeah.
It had been turned off Friday.
Oh, no.
So the moral of the story is this young kid had found out his girlfriend was pregnant. They come from like a pretty religious background, and they weren't married, and didn't have enough money to get married. So he was like clean and straight-laced kid, but he got mixed up and was trying to make some money on the side. He drove our van with all of our material and product into Mexico.
Oh no!
And had, I think, 185 kilos.
Oh, how do you just
in the van.
come across 185 kilos?
They were going to pay him like a couple $100,000 to move it across the border. No. But he chose to use our van because it was like marked up with all our logos and all that stuff. So, Thursday I get a call from, I think, the DEA.
Oh, no.
And they are like, well, we seized your van. This guy's in jail. Were you part of this? It didn't come to me. It was like one of our people, our ops guy or something. And then, the sister of the kid and the wife come in and they're like, we need your help to get him out of jail. And I'm like, look, he's fucked. I can't do anything.
Fired.
No. Yeah, you're on your own.
Yeah, he was in deep trouble. But anyways, I don't think we ever got the van back. I think the DA seized it and it was like, oh, well, we're just going to chalk that one up to a loss. Like an $80,000
That's contaminated.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right.
Stories.
Yeah, so you have your own stories.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to ask you, Shirley, tell us a little bit about your design style. Yeah.
So I would call it like maybe a modern Mediterranean style. I'm just obsessed with Croatia and and that's been my design aesthetic forever.
Oh, okay.
People tell me that over and over. And then I went to Croatia last summer and I'm like, this is it.
This is it.
Yeah. Did you go to Yacht Week or what did you do?
Oh, we did everything.
You did?
Yeah, everything. It was the best. I'm going to go back this summer too. Yeah, I love it.
I've heard Yacht Week is amazing.
Oh, I didn't do actual. Is that like a thing? But we did do a yacht for a week, so I don't know. We didn't do yacht week.
Not actual yacht week, but you went on a yacht.
I went on a yacht, It was amazing. So have either of you been Croatia?
I've not been to
You
Croatia.
have to.
No,
you have to. It's the best place on earth. But the limestone and just the bougainvillea, I would say like very timeless, old world style. It's just all the classic things, real marble, beams, just very clean and simple, but where it feels comfortable.
Yeah.
I would say that's my design aesthetic.
And do you offer that to your clients outside of, your flips? Or
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. People will call me like, is this a Shirley home? I'm like, yep. Because it's just people, they know like my home styles.
Yeah.
It's very, just earthy, cool. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah.
Do you sell your properties fully furnished or staged?
Both. So normally I stage all of them. And
So you hand select everything or you go to a stager?
No. I have a couple warehouses and I house a ton of furniture that I want to keep for myself. And so 90% of the time I'll give them the furniture list and they'll buy it. Yeah. When they don't and then they want to call me back to come look at what they did, I'm just like horrified. So it's not fun.
Yeah.
They should. I should actually just include it into my price.
You should.
Just live this lifestyle.
Exactly.
That's why you're buying this
I want
home.
this for you.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
What is your average price point on like a deal if you think back at 70 transactions?
I would say at least $2 million.
So you're kind of like coastal, higher end.
For sure, yeah. Like I have a $6 million in Oceanside right now. I've got a $4 million in Carlsbad. I just went into contract yesterday on a $2 million. So I would say it's around there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the sweet spot. That's what we're finding. So at Buy House, we write. We probably look at 400 or 500 properties a week right now. We write 50 to 75 offers.
Oh, nice! Wow.
And
that's amazing.
I know a lot of single-family value-add investors that are focused in the sub-$1 million purchase range, and there's a lot of competition there.
Tons.
So we found kind of that sweet spot buying between 2 and 4.
Yes.
Because it's you're taking a lot of risk, it's a lot dollars, but the renovation's pretty much the same.
True.
So the amount of work you're putting in
that's what people don't get.
It's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Obviously there's risk at that higher price point,
But it's usually worth it.
I would think so. And usually those assets are like more finite. So there's less of that inventory.
It's true.
So
I just went to a pitch session in Encinitas yesterday, and it was like that $2 to $4 million. Everyone had buyers in that realm, but they want them finished.
Yeah,
it has to be perfect.
It has to be perfect for sure. Yeah, but I do miss the old school days where I would go to Oceanside and just buy something for like 5 and put like 80 in and then sell. I'm like, oh, that was so easy and so
Those
fast.
days go.
Exactly.
In Oceanside,
it was fun.
We could do it in like Memphis.
Well, I did buy the lowest priced Oceanside. I didn't buy it. I represented my client because I had a meeting at her house for a design job, right? And she's hired me for a few other things at her house. So I go there and my GC's there and my son's there. And I was like hyped up. Sorry guys, I'm 10 minutes late. I had to stop and look at this house that's off market. Another agent just called me. I'm like, son, I'm sorry guys. I'm like, son, you need to buy this. Like you're going to buy this today. And he's like, Mom, like I'm not even thinking like that. I have my wedding coming up. And so Lynn, my client's listening and she's like, can I buy it for my daughter? I was like, okay. So we went over that day. She ended up buying. We're almost done with that renovation. It's going to be so freaking cute. It's going to be the cutest house on the whole street. Nice. Like we did arched doorways and smooth Santa Barbara stucco. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it sticks out like a sore thumb. But it's her daughter's first home, and the deal we got on it. Now, if she lets me resell it, it'll be like amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
But
no, now she wants it.
Yeah, she wants it. Yeah.
That actually brings me to another question because you mentioned you work with your family and your daughter she's in school to get her.
So I have 4 kids. My oldest is a boy and then 3 daughters. Sage is my second oldest. She does the real estate side with me and then John does the construction side. Sadie, my third child, is in Cal Poly going to construction management and design.
Cool.
Yeah.
That course. And then Chloe, my little one, will probably be married when she graduates high school. She's like in love. So, yeah.
Awesome. And so, how do you guys do that?
Balance family.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Truly, it's amazing. My husband, he was in the corporate world for a ton of beverage companies. He was the vice president of sales. And he came to work for me the last 2 years of his life. And then my son came the last year. So his dad and him got to work together and just learn a ton. Cool. So it's awesome. My son's amazing. My daughter's amazing. So it works.
That's cool.
Like there's no inner strife. Like it's great. We just love each other. And I do talk to them about 10 times a day. So that kind of gets old. Sometimes I'm like, hey, what's up? Like I want to be nice, but it's like, what now?
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to, the listeners, right? The people that listen to this podcast a lot of the time are agents that are looking for inspiration or consumers or maybe somebody that is trying to do their first flip or their first investment piece. What kind of advice would you give them, with all the knowledge that you have?
So for the agents, like it's who you know. Like you just have to be aggressive. It's not your marketing. If nobody knows who you are or you don't have a track record, that's fine because that's how we all start out.
Yep.
But you have to be aggressive. Like my daughter, I'll embarrass my kids because we'll be in a restaurant. I'll hear someone like, "Oh, so I'm looking on," and I'll be like, "Hey, hi, I'm," I don't care.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose.
Right.
Yep.
I've gotten so many deals just by that aspect. And then for the people trying to get into flipping, like, do whatever it takes. Like, I truly feel I've never lost. And so I feel like if you take that risk and you do an excellent job, like, you're going to win, especially in our coastal areas.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to lose. And if you lose, like, there's something majorly wrong.
Yeah.
But we did hard money. We did whatever we could in the very beginning just to get our foot in the door. And I think people are just scared of taking those risks, but you have to.
Yeah.
So.
And I think, it's something that we talk about a lot. And when we started Innovate, it was top of mind because every agent I know wants to do that. They want to, but that's why we spend so much time like educating our agents on the process because, and then pathing them to be able to partner on deals and things like that because, like you said, there are ebbs and flows in real estate and having those other tools. I mean, agents see it all the time where they work with an investor and they're like, oh, they made all the money on it, and then they want to get involved.
That's been done with, so many times. And it's like, no, it took years to get here. Like, don't.
It's not an overnight thing.
And it's not easy.
It's not easy.
And it can fall apart in 2 seconds.
Yes.
Like, it's just, you have to have like thick skin and patience.
Yeah.
I do have a funny story in Oceanside. I did a flip and it was like maybe an 8-week flip. And it was the second weekend, it was on the market, and I didn't want to do the open house. I was busy. So an agent called me from like Riverside. Hey, Shirley, I saw this listing. Can I come and do your open house weekend? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
You know, checked up her stats, like 0. I'm like, yeah, you can hold it open. Thank you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, she's like, I have a buyer. And I'm like, what? She's like, you're like, really? I have a buyer. And I already, you know, I offered 2.5%. And so I ended up giving her, I don't even know what her commission was, but I was just like, dang it.
Yeah.
Like, so I would say to new agents, like hit up those investors. Like sometimes they don't have people that want to hold their houses open and hold it open during the week. Just really, I love when people, at first I used to be annoyed, but now I'm like, please hold it open. I don't know who you are, but just do it.
I try and recruit everyone that they text me all the time and I'm like, I send it off to the team. I'm like, get this person, because it does show that they want it. Yeah, they want it.
And they'll be passing their cards out. I don't even carry cards. I mean, people are like, can I get a card? I'm like, I don't have a card. But those newer agents, they do, like they're ready, they're hungry. So I like that.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Yeah. I mean, you're going to miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Totally. So. And then they get listings, and I'm like, hey, can we split that? My open house.
I mean, I think that's, so, you know, going back to, you know, that inspiration question that I'm asking, I mean, it sounds like, you know, you guys are both, you know, doing that. Like, you are going out of your way to create opportunities, which you don't have to do. You could have just said no, like, you know, or, you know, you're going to give me half that commission or whatnot, but you're investing into younger generations to try to.
No, I love it. I'm like, do it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What do we, are we playing Rate That
I think we have to play Rate That. This is how we close it out.
Okay.
So we are going to look at photos of a listing, and it's usually pretty fun.
Are any of my listings
we're going to rate it.
No. 10.
So we get location, price of home, number of bedrooms and bath, and square footage, and then we're going to rate it at the end. So, this is in Hamilton, Virginia.
Oh.
Seems expensive.
5.9.
7,600 square feet. That's a mansion.
Yeah.
Over there.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Countryside.
Looks nice.
All American.
What are we in for here? Yeah, all American. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that was
a little eccentric.
I wasn't expecting that.
Interesting choice.
Traditional home.
So it's like the kissy lip pillows and because we have people that listen but don't watch, so we gotta explain. This is part of the fun.
I was expecting like colonial.
Paul's explanations are the best.
Isn't that what those are called, kissy lips?
Yeah,
it's a couch. Yeah,
but it's like kissy lip couch.
It is. Yeah.
And then
wow.
Hey. How do you describe this, Paul? Tell me more.
It's colonial Easter.
Colonial Easter.
George Washington.
There's our colonial in there. Yeah.
George Washington eats the Easter bunny.
But I'm scared because I'm concerned that those bunnies are there all year round.
They are.
This is not an Easter theme.
It's like kind of haunted mansion-ishy too.
Yeah.
Well, they're super into kissy lips.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Like the little.
No, I know, but okay.
Is that what that is?
That is. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you call that? Isn't that an emoji?
Yeah.
Just a kiss. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Oh, so are they like a stock market trader? It's a disco ball bull.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bull market in the office.
Okay.
Oh, this is just a lot.
Man, that's a lot. Yeah. The cherry.
This is all so unexpected from the exterior view.
Oh my God.
The clear bar stools. You don't know if you're sitting or not.
The clutter on that refrigerator just gives me anxiety. I want that off.
Not the minimalistic approach one might take.
No.
Okay. I'm so confused. What would we call this style?
Well, it's definitely traditional colonial, and then they just
the house,
the structure, but no, nothing inside. It's
Oh, you got the clear retro swinging chairs.
That bunny was there. This is not Easter related.
And then a set of deer antlers on the wall.
Okay.
It's like super out there.
I want to see the owner.
I know. That's what the fun of this is, like, who listed this? I love that. That llama is adorable.
I don't know. I think it's an alpaca.
That alpaca is adorable.
Yeah. We got a stuffed alpaca.
Probably wouldn't have it in my room.
And that fireplace is like middle of the wall. Okay.
I'm really excited about the alpaca.
Stuffed alpaca. Oh, the kids' room. It's a little caterpillar pillow.
Okay.
This is the daughter's room.
Colorful.
That's cute. I mean,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Like a 10-foot teddy bear. Holy smokes! I didn't see that on the right.
Cute but creepy.
The whole room, half the room is filled up
it
by a teddy bear.
Oh yeah.
I think
Okay,
it
there's
is.
the nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
It scared me for a minute. I thought it was another.
Oh my
person.
gosh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is a little weird. So
It
we see
turned
stuffed
into-
animals and like
What is that
chains.
stuffed animal in the middle with the eyes staring?
It's like, where's Waldo?
Which one?
In the back of your car.
In the car.
Oh
You see
yeah.
that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
no.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
That's not going to appeal to the masses.
Yeah.
This is like the downstairs
sure.
bar area. More
Yeah.
kissy lips.
You have to look past everything.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So rating this listing it's 1 to 5, right? We're rating it 1 to 5. So, I feel that my theme is very common in these situations, which is if you remove all of that stuff, this
right.
house could be presentable.
Totally. Could
be
You
cool.
know,
Yeah.
and especially for that area, that location, the style of the house, you probably wouldn't need to do a ton to, sell that at top dollar. But
Outside of taking every
Clutter.
stuffed animal
Everything.
out of the
Yeah.
house and all the kissy lips.
all of the creepy,
Yeah.
So
dolls.
what is your rating?
So, well, I mean, I'm going to rate the listing. The listing, I'm going to give it, we've seen worse, so I'm going to give it a 1.5. Only because we've seen so much worse. But I'm like, but yeah.
This is my take on this is we've not really done it this way, but I'm going to rate the listing agent a 0 of 5 because
Yeah,
they
it's
clearly
almost
have
like we
no
have-
client control.
No.
But you got to go and take all that out.
Yeah.
No client.
The listing is probably, I'm like a 1 or 1.5.
Yeah, because
it
if they
doesn't-
just put all that
doesn't do
stuff in
justice.
storage, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously they want to take it
declutter.
with them when they move.
Yeah, it would probably
Why
be,
wouldn't you?
It would probably be a 0,
So-
but at least the first photo was like all the serene space and the exterior. Like
Yeah.
the facade of the house is okay.
Yeah,
Like, that's
exactly.
that's
You would
beautiful. I would buy
not
that house.
suspect any of that.
It's
in
not
there.
until
Yeah.
you zoom in and
Yeah.
you see that face staring at you.
I would rate it a 3. I think
A 3?
I think
Whoa.
people can see past all the clutter and junk.
Yeah.
Like the bones of the house are great.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. All right.
But that's-
You're
I mean-
so nice.
Yeah.
You're so nice. Well, I'm like, what are they
It's
doing?
just stuff. It's just
Yeah.
art. Move it all out.
Yeah, yeah. I think we were so distracted with all of the things that I can't tell you many of the characteristics of the homes. Like when I looked at the kitchen, I was like, I feel like it's fine. It
Yeah.
would, be okay, but does need to be.
I don't know. As we go back through the pictures, I don't know if you guys are picking this up, but in every room there's like an orb. There's like a circular. See, there's like a lit up orb next to the table,
yeah.
and then there's some at the
Interesting.
top here. There's like these circular orbs in every room. And it's very
Okay.
bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I need
definitely.
more information.
Like
I
it's a
feel.
glass one on the side right there. It's
Can we
like
pull
just
the tax records and look up the owner?
Yeah, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, well, they're our next guest. Actually.
I do. Okay. Well, with that, thank you so much for being here.
course.
This was
Thanks
such a
for
great
having me.
conversation,
Yeah.
and we love connecting with, even agents in the industry, not always our agents, and learning more from every guest we have. So thank you so
Yeah,
much
of
for
course.
joining.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to close by saying, it's really humbling for me to be at the table because we got two very powerful women in business that are like, you guys are clearly both crushing it. My take is if you're a real estate agent in Southern California and you're not working with Suzanne or Shirley, you're doing the wrong thing. If you're looking to invest, call Shirley and Suzanne. I mean, this is a power couple. I mean, you're not a couple. You're not a couple.
Duo.
You're gonna
A
show
duo.
us,
Yeah.
Power duo. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
congratulations on what you built. That's just.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
think my opinion doesn't matter, but one of the things you said that is standing out with me, which is incredibly inspiring, is that you enjoy every day of what you're doing and your family's involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I think is like, if you truly unwind all the layers of the onion back, it's like most parents just want to see their kids launch successfully.
Yeah, totally.
So for you to be doing what you're doing as an individual, but then also balance that in a way where your family wants to participate in it.
Yeah.
That is just a beautiful thing. And, I hope to be able to do that one day. So
Thank you.
In like-
yeah.
maybe 15 years, I'm going to have my daughters call you.
Yeah.
I don't think they would like working with me, but I want them to work with you. Or you.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
Right.
Okay.
So if you do not follow us, hit the subscribe button. We're going to have all of Shirley's details at the bottom of the episode.
Okay.
So they can find you on Instagram, website. We'll probably not give out your phone number.
Doesn't matter.
Unless it's on
She's
your
in
website.
real estate.
Yeah.
It's all out there.
It is, yeah.
But, don't hesitate, listeners. I would also challenge you to please continue sending great stories. That was a good one.
Yeah, that's good.
And generally, it inspires us to tell another sub-story of what we're seeing. But, we appreciate everybody. It really helps us out when you hit subscribe. And we will see you next week.
See ya.
Talk.